Welcome to episode 3 of the Called to Parent podcast. I am not Pastor Dalton, nor am I Pastor Mark. I'm Pastor Andy. I'm the creative pastor here at Lux Digital Church, and with me is my much better half, Miss Ginna Mage. Do you want to say hello, or are you just going to stare at me?
Hello.
You're just looking at me. I was like, I'm waiting for you to...
I was waiting for you to give me go ahead.
Go ahead.
Hi.
Yeah, there we go. Hey,
I'm not a pastor.
No, you are...
I'm not Mark, Andy, or Dalton.
No, that's not. That's true. And nor are you Emily or Jen either. You are Ginna. Ginna. And a lot of people ask you how you pronounce your name. Is it Jenna?
No.
Is it Ginna?
No, it's Jen.
Ginna.
Ginna.
Gin, like the...
Cotton gin or the beverage
alcoholic
gin.
drink gin.
Well, I didn't want to say that on a Christian podcast.
Spoiler, we drink beer and gin sometimes.
I just tell people my biological mother was an alcoholic and she liked to drink gin.
Is that true?
Probably, but I don't know if she liked gin.
Oh, okay. This is a weird start to this podcast. So
it's all about parenting.
It is all about parenting, and this episode is all about Chapter 3 of Paul David Tripp's parenting book. And this one's a little interesting. It's about law. It's about rule. It's about grace in the midst of all of that. And so we kind of wanted to talk a little bit. We actually have kids that are old, like older. Who are our 3 children?
Austin, who is 21, Grace, who is 19, and Carter, who is 15.
And 2 of them don't even live in the house anymore.
The tables have turned. They tuck me in now.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I mean, it's true. You do go to bed before they do.
I do. So they come and tuck me in.
Yeah, way before. When they're home. When they're home. Carter obviously still lives with us. The other 2 do not live with us. And so we have kind of an advanced, maybe not advanced sounds like we know exactly what we're doing. I don't think we know what we're doing at all. At least
Nobody
I don't.
does.
You do. So with some of these things, some of kind of the questions and things, we have a different perspective just because we have those older kids. And I actually, when I met you, nigh on 12 years ago now.
Longer than that.
Is it?
Because we've been married for 12 years.
So like 13 years ago. You had already been successfully raising children. Very successfully.
Some would say.
I would say, because 2 of our 3 children have launched, and they are launched. Well, Grace is almost ready to launch, and they're doing very well. And that is not because of me. That is all because of the hard work that you did. I was there to...
You came in at the hard time too, so...
Well, we'll see. But one of the things that this entire chapter is about is kind of punishment and disobedience and setting up guardrails around kids. And we had rules that we expected the kids to follow. Like what? What were some of the rules we expected them to follow?
Biggest ones, don't lie.
Yeah.
That was, and I still remember when, before you came in the picture, that was my biggest thing. Don't lie to me. Actually caught Austin in a lie, little stinker. But no lying. We just obey. Like, we tell you to do something, you do it. No, you don't question. You don't talk back. You don't sass. You don't. If we have chores, you do your chores. If we tell you there's no TV, there's no TV. It was just basic, simple principles of just obey. Obey and just respect.
What else? What about the easy ones? Like, do your laundry?
Do laundry, do your chores, pick up your toys.
They were pretty good about picking up their toys, I will say. When they were younger, they were. They had a song that they used to sing, which I think was interesting. At least that was, I just remember that from like Saturday mornings or Saturdays when you would be at work. I'd be hanging out with them.
Oh, they would sing Wonder Pets theme song.
The
teamwork. What's going to work? Teamwork.
Well, they would do that, but they would also do clean up, everybody clean up. That was more Carter and Grace than Austin
Probably.
would. I have a video of it somewhere. I came across it in like Time Hop, and I was spying on them taking this video. I just thought it was very funny. Like they were putting blocks in all of their weird ways and make their bed. Like I remember Carter would make his bed terribly.
But he did it.
He did it, but he would just like spread his blankets out in a straight line, and he would put his pets in like or his stuffed animals in certain ways. And, the big one obviously is don't lie, but there were a ton of other rules. And, I think for me, I grew up in a very, I don't want to say disciplined focused household, but my mom definitely expected a level of, perfection, maybe.
Yeah.
Of excellence, it's close to perfection, because she was kind of raised in a household that was overly disciplined as well. My dad, not so much. Dad kind of just let mom
do her thing,
do most of the parenting. But mom grew up in a very strict household, and she wasn't super strict with us, but you could definitely tell there was a lot of that. She had high expectations of us as kids. You had kind of a different childhood there, in that there was a little bit of brokenness.
Oh yeah.
A whole lot of brokenness.
But we still had our chores. We still had the things that we needed to do. But me personally was I needed to be the best at everything. I needed to have a clean room if I did my chores, if I did my homework.
Was that self-imposed, or was that from your dad?
Oh, that was probably self-imposed, just because of having a mother who wasn't there. Thinking if I did all these things, she would come back. So like I don't think you can base my childhood off of any of that. But I think because of what I did grow up with and how I grew up in my mindset, I was not going to allow the kids to have that mindset. Like I want them to have the mindset of, okay, if you got a C, the question is, was that your best? Did you do your best? Right. And if the answer is yes, then good job. Fantastic.
Right.
If they, we know that was not their best, then there's going to be, some course reaction for that. But it was always just, I want you to do your best, and I want you to feel like you did your best.
Yeah. And there's this, so with the idea of law versus grace, so you look at the Old Testament versus the New Testament, right? And the Old Testament is considered like the law.
Yeah.
That is 633 different rules and 10 commandments. And you're supposed to check all these boxes and, be holy as I am holy, be perfect as I am perfect type thing. And so there's a big gap between what law is and what grace is. So if you look at what law actually is in the Bible, it's this God is revealing his will and putting boundaries up around, especially Israel at the time, in an age before refrigerators and antibiotics and Wi-Fi and answers. He was putting up a lot of boundaries and saying like, hey, maybe don't eat pigs because it'll kill you because you don't know how to cook them properly and they have bad bacteria. And hey, maybe don't let mold be in your house because it could kill you. And shocker, pigs can kill you and mold can kill you. But also there's this kind of thing that Paul David Tripp talks about. He says that there's a lot of well-meaning Christian parents that take law and kind of go way over the top with it.
Oh yeah.
They go way over. They rely on rules and they rely on consequences to change their children or to create hearts of change in their children. And one of the ways he talks about it is he talks about parents that count. They say on the count, you better not do that. I'm going to count to 3. And by the time you get to 3, you need to be done. And that is that's a form of law, but that's like a really bad form of law. No, you never counted.
No, it was like I told you the other day that look at it this way. If you are going to be a parent that counts, your child's in the street and you say, Johnny, you better get over here. I'm going to count to 3. 1, 2, and then by the 3rd, your son has not moved, and he's also been hit by a car because you're too busy counting. So it should be, this is what I said. This is what you need to do. You say it once, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's also interesting that you talked about at the very beginning when you said, or towards the beginning when you were talking about like, hey, did you get a C? That's okay. You tried your best. That's actually that's part of what we need to model as Christian as parents who follow Jesus, is we need to model a spirit of excellence, a spirit of not perfection, because they're two different things. Like, we'll never be perfect, right?
No.
Like, there's only one person in the world that's ever been perfect ever in all of history. And that's Jesus. And so we need to model a spirit of excellence and of grace, not our daughter Grace, but of grace, not just laying heavy burdens upon people. And I think a lot of times, like the Christian parents that are, that at least that I've seen, that I know personally, that I've been in churches with, that I've been in small groups with, they have this like oppressiveness over their kids. And, there was you met them. Well, they're not going to listen to this. Hayes and Lisa. Remember them?
Oh, yeah,
The Coasties?
Yeah.
So they were super, like, I'd say close friends of mine, but they were friends of mine when I lived in New Jersey. He was a Coast Guard helicopter pilot. She didn't really do much. She was a teacher for a little bit, but then she was a stay-at-home mom. They had 2 kids, and they were very, like, he was regimented. He was military. And Lisa was from a military family. That's fine.
Okay.
Lisa was from a military family, and so they both had a lot of rules and regulations, and they were Christians. Like, they loved the Lord. And they laid so heavy a burden on their kids. All of these rules and regulations, and like, you didn't get phones until at past this point, and like, some of those things were good. Like the phones thing, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't get a phone until you were what, 12?
Yeah, till you were 12, but they signed a contract.
Yeah, I wrote up a contract. We went through this contract with them, like, and the contract was all about just different ways to use your phone. Don't let people, like, we can send you the contract if you want. My brother actually just asked me for the contract that we use, because he's doing it with his now.
And I will add that we put in there no selfies.
Yeah, no selfies.
Because we live in a self-absorbed world already.
Yep.
And they're not allowed social media till they're 17. So there's no point in taking 50 million pictures of yourself to see which one is the best.
Right.
So yeah, no.
By the way, if you hear a bunch of banging around on the camera, on the microphones, I don't know why, but anytime I get on the phone or anytime I'm trying to do something important, the dogs start wrestling. So we have 2 dogs, and they're out there fighting like tooth and nail right now.
They're not fighting. They're playing.
They're playing, but they're like, just, yeah, whatever. They're being dumb. But anyway, so Lisa and Hayes laid this thing upon their kids, and I watched their kids grow, and their oldest daughter just went off the deep end, just like felt all this pressure from her parents and made a whole bunch of life choices, and has had a kid completely, like, with a dude that she had no relationship with. And that dude is gone, like long gone. And the other daughter made some other life choices. Anyway, so they put all these laws, but they didn't follow it up with any grace. And so anytime something went wrong at school, they would punish these kids, and then they never showed any grace to these kids. And I watched these 2 girls grow up and just like left, and don't have no faith background. One of them is is she an atheist or agnostic? I can't remember. She's one of the A's. Like, she just left. And so I don't know. I think it's fascinating when we as parents put all of these things on, and there's a trap I think we fall into, is that, hey, I need to model Christ. So like the Bible tells us as parents, we need to model Christ in our household. And we think like, okay, cool. I'm going to supplement all of the things that God tells me with my own laws, my own regulations. Like Hayes and Lisa, they love them, great people, but they were trying to supplement it so that when they could go to these military functions, they had these 2 very, proper kids that dressed and remained quiet and all this other stuff. Meanwhile, like, that's not what Jesus asked.
Well, I mean, if you look at Joshua 1:7, it says, not to deviate from it, not to go neither left nor right, because what they're doing is that they are either adding or deleting their own laws. And
that's a good point.
It was, I remember bringing that up to you the other night, but it was like in a totally
There's a different context.
A different context. But when you think about it, as parents, we're trying to alleviate or change the law or change the rules. But when you keep that one rule of, love your neighbor as yourself, it comes even with your children, I think, and just raising them up. And when you put such high standards on them, they're going to grow up and they're going to break.
Yeah. As parents, we're called to be just like just like I am as a pastor, just like you are as a minister. I mean, you're kind of a pastor in your own way anyway. But we are called to be ambassadors for Christ. We're not called to carry the hammer of Jesus. We're called to be ambassadors, to embody the things that Jesus did, which is love and grace and mercy and understanding and acceptance. Not condoning. So we ran into a situation with Grace, couple situations with Grace involving boys. Nothing physical. Nothing like that.
We just don't allow dating.
We didn't allow dating
until you're 16, because what are you going to do? Go to the cafeteria?
Yeah. We did not allow dating until she was 16.
And no boyfriends or girlfriends either, because there's going to be enough time to have your heart broken when you get older.
And she has found that out. And actually, I had a conversation with her last night about that. It's been a year to the day since she called off. Well, yesterday was a year today since she called it off with her first real boyfriend. Of like
actually, he called it off.
Well, they took a break, quote unquote, and that was it. That was it for them. And I said, like, Grace, this is one of the reasons that we had told you guys, hey, this is not an arbitrary rule. We just didn't want you dating until you were 16, because now look at all the foolishness. She's like, yeah, I spent a lot of time worrying about that and I shouldn't have. And I was like, yeah,
exactly.
No crap. But back that up, we ran into a couple situations with her where she was like trying to talk to guys, and she was like secretly, quote unquote, dating one on this, what was his name?
Which one?
Rashad.
Yeah.
And Landon.
Oh, and Landon.
Yeah. She had like these quote unquote secret boyfriends, and like
she would change the names in the text messages. I'm like, I'm not stupid.
Yeah.
I've been there. Granted, I didn't have text messaging at that age.
Yeah.
I know. I've been there.
Yeah.
We passed the notes in class, same thing. So,
so one of the things that we both learned in that was how to embody, there are consequences. So what happens when you sin against God is God forgives your sin. Like as soon as you say like, oh crap, I screwed up, like, and you repent and you walk away with that, God forgives that sin. Like that's no longer held against you, but you still have a consequence.
And it doesn't mean he's happy with us or not happy with us.
No, it means it's forgiven.
Yeah.
But there are consequences for our sin.
Absolutely.
And when kids screw up, that doesn't mean we just like, oh, buddy, you'll get them next time and like just pass it off. No, that means that we forgive, we love, we forgive, we show grace, but also there are consequences. And so with like Grace, she got her phone taken away for like a whole week, and she was 15 at the time. And so her phone was like,
no, she was 14.
She was 14 at the time. Yeah. And her phone was like how she communicated with people and like trying to do her schoolwork was tough because kids use phones for school. And I
think we let her have it at school, but the moment she came in the house, it went up on the counter.
And there were a couple of days it stayed
home.
Yeah, stayed home. And it was just like, hey, you're gonna have to figure it out. Like, I'm sorry, you were the one that was texting with Rashawn, not me. But
Rashad.
No,
Rashad.
Rashad. He was a senior and she was a freshman. No, he was a junior.
He was a senior and she was a freshman.
He was a senior.
But when it comes to the choices and consequences, so even like when the kids were little, way before our time, I was the one who set the discipline in the house, and I remember, and I was a parent that disciplined, and guess what? They turned out great. I think that there's too much gentle parenting going on these days, that kids do need to be disciplined. But discipline doesn't mean that you're bringing the hammer down on them.
Nope.
And I remember specifically one time, and I believe it was Austin, and I just looked at him and I said, okay, buddy, here's the deal. You have the choice to either obey or you have the choice to disobey. But I want you to know that with disobedience, if you disobey me on this, then that means there will be a consequence. But if you obey, then there's going to be a praise. I said, but I'm going to leave that choice up to you. You need to make this choice, not me. And I remember he'd be like, I obey. I'm like, I think that is an amazing decision. I think you made a great choice. And I think that even as kids, even that age, teach them about choices, teach them about the right from the wrong, instead of bringing the hammer down right away. And I can tell you, I never yelled at the kids. Never once did I raise my voice. I think there were times maybe I got stern once or twice, and it was.
I heard you get stern.
It was probably with Grace more than anything.
Carter bit Austin on the back,
but it was more of the whisper.
Oh yeah,
and
the whisper's like that's like yelling.
They knew when the whisper.
Yeah.
Be in a crowd, and I would give them the look, and I would wave them to come over, and I would whisper, and you could see the fear in their eyes as they were walking over because they knew Mom was about to whisper.
And whispering is bad news.
And I also don't believe that you need to yell at your children, or discipline them in a manner when you are in front of an entire crowd for the world to see.
Yeah,
that's going to destroy your child's their well-being, their mentality,
their self-esteem.
It's going to bring them down. As parents, our job is to discipline with love, just like our Heavenly Father does. And it's our job to raise them to make the choices and the decisions so that when they go out into the world, that they make those choices for themselves.
Yep. And that actually leads me into like a kind of a good point and a note that I think we can do. So a lot of times, my parents, I love them. I think they're great parents. My mom, God rest her soul, was not real good about having an actual conversation with me. Like when we went to even the birds and the bees talk, like in 5th grade, you do the birds and the bees thing.
Oh, we had those with the kids.
Well, hold on. Yeah. So my dad never had that talk with me.
Really?
Well, I got the note, the letter that was like, hey, we're having the health and wellness or whatever it was called in 5th grade.
School.
Yeah. And I was terrified to bring it home and show my parents for some reason. But I brought it home and because they had to sign it. There's a permission slip. And Mom said, okay, you need to ask your dad to sign this. I said, okay. So I walked over to Dad and Dad said, all right, let's go into our room. So I walked into their room and he shut the door and he goes, do you know what this is? And I said, yep. And he goes, do you have any questions? And I said, no. And he signed it and that was it. Like we never talked about it. We never, like they just assumed that the schools were going to, and so like, and that was, a time and a place. Yeah. I'm 42. Like that was back in the early 90s, late 80s. So like, okay, fine. But the moral of that was like, even growing up, I didn't have honest conversations with my parents about any of this stuff until I had fallen into like drug addiction and come out of it. Like that's the first time I can remember having honest conversations with my parents. I think our job as parents is our kids are going to screw up.
Yeah.
We don't condone their actions, but we try to explain to them why we don't condone our actions. I think having a conversation with our kids is, it's helped us so much. Like Grace has even said like, hey, some of those conversations that you guys have had.
Oh gosh. Yeah. Well, even just, and one thing that I have told them is I want you to come to us. I want you to feel comfortable asking us these questions. I'd rather you hear it from our mouth instead of from the kids or from Instagram or from any other, social media outlet. And there's been days that she has asked me a question and yes, I wanted my eyes to go really big. I wanted my jaw to drop wide open. And I would just have to like silently take a deep breath and just say, okay, yep, this is what this is. And this is what that means.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about these.
No, we don't, because you don't want to know.
I don't want to know any of this.
You don't want to know any of this at all.
No.
But the fact that, and I'm sure the boy, and I still remember.
The boys have talked to me.
There was one day, I remember Austin, Mom, where's Andy? Mom, where's Andy? I'm like, he's walking the dog. Can I help you? No, I need Andy.
I know what you're talking about.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Can I say it?
Sure.
Okay. So you got back from walking the dog, and I actually was standing at the top of the stairs, and then I was like, went in the room. And so you walk in the room and your eyes are like, you're a deer in the headlights. Like, what just happened?
Huh.
And I just said, well, what was that about? He asked me about manscaping.
Yep, he did.
And
he did.
But he felt comfortable to come to you.
Sure.
He, yes, you came into his life when he was 9, 10 years old, but he cares and loves you so much because of the way we have raised them, because of what we have done together as their parents.
Sure.
And he felt comfortable enough. And I hope and pray that Carter does too. I don't know the conversation.
Oh, no, we've had conversations.
Interesting. But just like that, Grace is comfortable coming to me. And I love that. I didn't have that with my parents, just like you.
Yep.
I remember first got my first period, and my dad came in, cried, hugged me, and then left. And my mom was just like, okay, well, you're a woman now. Here you go. But it was just, we never really had the talk of the birds and the bees, and I kind of did, but I don't remember what it was. But I remember you and I sitting down with all three of them at the appropriate time and having those conversations. And I don't remember any odd questions being asked. I think they may have been uncomfortable a little bit.
Yeah.
But I remember when my sister had the conversation with Jackson, and his comment was like, "You let dad pee inside you 3 times?"
Gross.
I know. But again, I feel like it's being upfront with your kids.
Yeah.
We're definitely, they grew up on the mindset, and I remember telling them, I am not your friend. I am your mother. One day I will be. And Grace still holds on to that. And she now is my best friend. But it wasn't until she left the house that this happened.
Blessedly.
Yeah. But it just, and the boys, Austin, the relationship we have. And I honestly believe because of the way we parented our kids and I will say this, not every kid can be disciplined the same way.
Oh, no.
At all. And I learned that the hard way. Like with Grace, you had to take away her elephants and put them in a laundry basket and put them on top of the fridge so she could see them, but she couldn't reach them. Austin was taking away his Legos. You took away what they love most. Carter,
take away the Kindle.
Nope. Carter was a completely different child. We'll
take away the iPad.
Well, before that, he wanted to be with Austin and Grace.
That's true.
And I had to take that time away from him. And I have video of literally me holding him between my legs on the couch because he slapped me in the face, and I wouldn't let him down. And he was like, I get down. I won't pay. I won't pay. And I'm like, no, not until you say you're sorry. No. But, it's discipline is needed. Our Heavenly Father disciplines us. But yet, guess what? He still loves us. We need to do that for our kids.
Absolutely. And I think the last point to make about all of that is that we also need to acknowledge when we as parents screw up. Because do, because we're human. I have one of the most humbling things as a guy is to have to walk into your kid's room and say, hey, I'm sorry about that. Very humbling. And I've done it because I'm a bit of a jerk.
Oh, I know. I mean, not that you're a jerk.
Wow.
I know that you've gone in and apologized.
Wow. Thanks. You've apologized to the kids too.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an incredibly humbling thing because at least for me, I'm very emotional, shocker. And, when I get on my high horse about something, it needs to be done my way. And one of the most interesting thing that happens when you get married is it puts a mirror up to who you are and shows you at least for me, showed me how selfish I really was and how I needed things to be my certain way, my way. And there's 4 other people in this house or 6 other people or 12, however many other people in your house, and you can't have your way.
Well, you got 3 years and then you can go back.
Well, no, we're not doing that. But, like the point is like apologizing to your kids is, asking them for grace, asking them for forgiveness, and asking them to help you in that. Like, that's incredibly humbling. And yet at the same time, it's incredibly needed.
Yeah, absolutely.
So again, Ginna rarely gets things wrong. So she hasn't done that as much as I have, which is...
No, there's been times, and I remember going to Grace and apologizing. I remember apologizing to Carter and Austin. and still to this day. And I try to keep a focus on them, and even though they are 21 and 19 and 15, especially with the two oldest, the biggest thing is that you raise them so that you can send them off. And there are still days that I would love to step in and I would love to fix the situation. But I can't anymore. That's not my job. That's the Heavenly Father's job now. And if they come to us, then yes, that advice is given. But I think I had someone refer to me as a helicopter parent recently.
You?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. That we're helicopter parents. And
who said that?
Take a wild guess.
Okay.
But that we were helicopter parents. And I'm sitting here thinking, we had discipline. Yes, we did. But we also gave choices. We gave guidance.
Like the furthest thing from a helicopter parent.
I know. Like the day that we dropped them off at college, the first thing I did when we left was I turned off Life 360 notifications. I don't want to know when they're arriving at home or when they're, our home, yes. So I can run out to the driveway. But when they complete a drive at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m, I don't want to know that. Yeah. It's like you guys it's out of sight, out of mind. I think it's a peace of mind for me for when I sleep at night, except for when the phone rings after 9 p.m. But you get to a point when your kids are bigger and they're older, you have to start giving them a little bit more freedom. Kind of like with the phone. With the phones, we would take their phones every single night before they went to bed. We knew all their passwords. But it gets to a point where you release that a little bit and you give them that more freedom. And you're not checking on their text messages. You're not checking on their emails. You're not checking on every little single thing that they are doing. And even when it came to college, I didn't fill out their applications mainly because I didn't know how to. And they know the tech world better than I do. But it was like, this is your thing. You guys need to go do this. Yeah. If you want this, you go do this. You chase after it. This is your dream. This is your future. And as parents, that's what you do. You raise your kids up so that you can send them off, but raise them with discipline, but raise them with love and grace and mercy, just like the Lord does with us.
Amen, Pastor Ginna.
Woohoo.
Anything else to add before we close up shop today on this wonderful afternoon?
No, I just need to go make some more bread.
Sourdough.
With chocolate chip.
Sounds great. Well, thanks everybody for listening to this episode of Called to Parent. We are so appreciative of everything that Lux Kids is doing. Thanks to Pastor Dalton and the entire Lux Kids team. We love you. And until the next time we talk, say goodbye, Ginna.
Goodbye, Ginna.
Good one. We'll see you guys.